Christian discipleship is an affair of the heart. The life of a disciple of Jesus is about the heart. In our lives as Catholics involves a constant need to purify our hearts. It involves ongoing conversion. Conversion is not a once and done thing. It's got to be ongoing, an everyday thing. It involves an ever greater surrender of our lives into God's hands. A surrender of our lives into allowing Jesus to be the Lord of our life. And above all, it's about an ever-growing intimacy with Jesus. See, if we're not growing more deeply in love with Jesus, if we're not growing more deeply in our concern for others, especially the poor and the hurting, then our hearts are in danger of withering, of drying up. For almost 50 years, Saint Mother Teresa worked in the slums of Calcutta. She worked among the most forsaken people on the earth. You and I would recoil from most of the people that she touched every day. The dying, the dispossessed, the downtrodden, the diseased, the desperate. And yet everybody that met St. Mother Teresa would always remark about the warm smile that was constantly on her face. How was it that for working in those kind of conditions, year after year, that she could have such a warm smile on her face all the time? Somebody asked her that one time, and this was her answer. She said, when I was leaving home in Yugoslavia at the age of 18 to go become a nun, so my mother told me something very beautiful, very simple, and at the time it seemed a little strange to me. Her mother said, you go put your hand in Jesus' hand and walk along with him. And St. Mother Teresa said, and that's really the secret. I've tried each and every day to put my hand in Jesus' hand and to walk with him. And we believe that Jesus always is with us. Are we always with him? Are we reaching out and taking the hand that he's offering to us? And many of us here have a secure home to live in. Our lives are fairly stable, but where's the warm smile on our faces? How was it that little nun, St. Mother Teresa, working in the most desperate kind of situation imaginable, had that kind of warm smile on her face? What's the difference between her and us? Well, maybe we need to be better about taking that hand that Jesus reaches out to us and walking with him every day, every moment. The St. James in the second reading and then the gospel are telling us that kind of this phrase that you've often heard, you can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. Basically the message of the gospel today. I may have shared this story with you before. I remember when I first stumbled across the story, it really stuck with me. There was a Filipino seminarian back in the late 90s who gave up his life for the students that he was teaching. He was 26 years old. His name was Richie, or Michael Fernando, as they called him Richie. He was volunteering as a missionary in Cambodia at the time. He was teaching at a technical school. And it was set up for students who were landmine victims, and also those who were suffering different kind of disabilities. Well, one day, an angry student showed up, threatening everybody with a hand grenade. And so Richie risked his life to restrain this young man, to protect the others, and the grenade ended up going off, and Richie and this angry student were both killed. St. James says, welcome humbly the word that has been planted in you. He says, if all you do is listen to it, you've got to be doers of the word and not just hearers only. And Jesus, quoting the prophet Isaiah, says, these people pay me lip service, but their hearts are far from me. And he says, it's not the stuff that enters us that defiles us. It's not the food that we eat or stuff that enters. He said, it's the stuff that comes from within us. Purity of heart comes from our thoughts, our attitudes, our choices, our words, and our actions. Richie, the Filipino seminarian, knew that the Word of God was something not only to listen to, but above all to act on. He knew that he had to walk the walk. His daily actions of serving the poor made him ready for that ultimate act of self-giving, that ultimate act of love, and imitation of the one for whom he was a disciple of. And so for us, it's in those daily little things that we do, those daily little words, those actions that we take, the ways that we go out of our way for someone that we care about or someone that we don't even know. Or it's in those ways that we refuse to take the hand of Jesus and just live for ourselves. We can't be bothered with someone who is hurting and suffering and struggling. It's that daily conversion that we're called to. That daily taking up our cross and following Jesus. That daily willingness to sacrifice our preferences, to sacrifice our will, to unite our will to the divine will. We're stewards of that word that has been planted with us, and we have to nurture it and allow God's grace to nurture it. So that daily examine of our hearts is so important. Daily examination of conscience, examine of our day. That Filipino seminarian wrote this when he was on a retreat. He said, I wish when I die that people would remember not how great or talented or powerful I was, but that I served and spoke for the truth, that I gave witness to what was right, that I was sincere in my words and actions. In other words, that I loved and followed Jesus Christ. Being a disciple of Jesus is an affair of the heart. May we allow the Lord to work that constant conversion, that constant purification of our hearts that we need, so that we can reach out and take that hand that He's offering to us.